So the reason why you would do a tap test on a flow meter is because you want to narrow down if the flow meter is the problem, or if the harnessing is the problem, or if your rate controller is the problem. So first we need to identify what kind of flow meter you have. We have two kinds of flow meters. This is the Orion 2 that we've used for quite a long time now. Currently, in this year, 2025, we are starting to switch over to the newer Orion 3 flow meter. They're both magnetic flow meters. The Orion 3 is just a little bit smaller and it uses a different plug. Each flow meter has their own adapter cable. So looking at the Orion 2, there are two kinds of cables. Both of them will use this super seal plug to go into the flow meter. And then both sides will use this 3-pin Metro pack. So looking at the adapter cable, the white will be your 12 volt, the black will be your ground, and the red will be your signal. And then it'll match on the other end for your standard adapter cable. For your divide by 8 cable, on here the green will be your power, the red is your signal, and the black will be your ground. The same will apply for the Orion 3 cables. On the end going to the pump cable, you will have the red as your signal, white as your 12 volt, and the black as your ground. Going to the other side is a 6-pin Deutsch. You will have the black as ground in pin 1. Number 2 will be your 12 volt, and number 5 over here is your signal, which is red. As we come to this divide by 8 cable that has this resistor in line, black will be your ground, your green will be your 12 volt, and then your red in pin 5 will be your signal. And so you need to identify these two cables for this tap test. If you have a standard adapter cable, you can do a tap test on the adapter cable, but if you have this resistor in line, this divide by 8 cable, you cannot do the tap test. It will not work through this resistor. So in order to do the tap test, the reason why we do the tap test is because we want to narrow down if the flow meter is sending the signal back or not, and then we can determine that if the flow meter is creating a signal, if the harnessing is sending it back. So what you'll want, I have a paper clip here. You can get a jumper wire if you want. And what you will want to do, I'll do it with the Orion 2 adapter cable. You always want to use the two outside pins. You have this red tip that's on here, and there are these sides on this red tip. You might want to, don't pull too hard on them, but you can pull these tabs off, and then you can pull this red tip off and the pins are exposed and you can easily get to it. So with my jumper wire, I'm not going to touch my middle pin because my middle pin is the power pin. I do not want to touch my power pin. I'm going to put one end of my tap cable. You can hold it on the ground or on the signal. You hold your jumper wire on one of the pins, and then on the other outside pin, you're not going to hold it, you're going to tap it. So you're going to quickly just make contact from the ground to the signal, and as you do that, that will send the signal back to the controller. If your harnessing is okay, that'll send a signal back to the controller saying that a signal is being received, and you can see your flow rate jumping on the screen. So you can do the same thing with your standard Orion 3 adapter cable. You'll want to do this black, which is your pin 1, and then you'll want to do this red being your signal. This one's a little more tricky, but you'll kind of just get it in there, jump it out, and then on your screen, you should see your flow rate jump up and down when you're sitting on your nozzle flow check page. Now, if you have the divide by 8 cable, with the resistor that is in here, it divides your pulses by 8. We have to do that for some controllers because the flow count will be so high. The controller will be limited on the number of pulses you could put in. So we divide the pulses by 8 using this resistor so we can put in a proper size flow cal and we can enter it in on your controller. So when you go on this side, if you do the tap test, it doesn't go through the resistor. So what you have to do, you have to go back to your pump cable here. On your pump cable, where your adapter cable would normally plug into, on this flow, there will be this tag that's labeled flow. You have a black, red, and blue. Black is your ground. Red will be your 12 volt. Blue will be your signal. So I'm going to ignore the adapter cable. I'm going to take my jumper wire. I am again not going to touch the power. I'm going to hold my jumper cable on one of the pins. In this case, I'm holding it on signal, and I'm going to tap the ground. And when I do that, that should cause the flow rate to be jumping on my screen. So here's the demonstration of a live setup. Here I have a John Deere Greenstar controller. I'm doing a nozzle flow check. This test tends to work out better if you have two guys. One guy can sit in the cab and see the controller. The other guy is out actually doing the tap test. So what you want to do on your Greenstar, hit your nozzle flow check. You do not have to turn the pump on for this test, at least for a Greenstar. For an ag leader you do, for a Raven RCM, a Deere 2000 controller, and you shouldn't have to, and a Trimble you should not have to turn on the test. So in this case, I'm just going to turn my nozzle flow check off. I know I'm reading flow in this case because I was just locking in on rate. Let's say if you're not, if you have a 0 gallon per acre and your pump pressure is jumping all the way up, your pump rate's jumping all the way up, what you can do on the flow meter on this Orion 2, first there's this red light that's on the side. It's pretty dim, but if you put both your hands over it, you can see if it's on or not. And then right now it's on solid, meaning I have 12 volt. And when I run the pump system, when the pump normally reads flow, you'll see there it's flashing. When the light flashes, that means it is reading flow, and the flow meter should be sending pulses back. If it doesn't flash, if it's just solid, then the flow meter probably isn't generating pulses. Now, the speed at which this light will flash will vary on the amount of flow going through it. So if you have the problem where your pump is just taken off full blast and your pressure is real high, that light might flash so fast that it looks solid. So in that case, it doesn't necessarily help you. This is where the tap test will come in. So on this setup, usually John Deere's on an electric setup with a smaller flow meter, use that divide by 8 cable. So I can't do the tap test on that divide by 8 cable. I'm gonna go back to the pump cable on that flow plug with the blue signal wire, and I'm gonna test there. So right here, this is my cable that's labeled flow with my flow tag. I have my black, red, and blue cable. On my screen, I have the rate off. So I'm reading 0 gallon per acre, 0 gallon per minute. I'm gonna take my jumper wire. In this case, I'm just gonna hold it on the signal, and I'm going to tap my signal wire, my other outside wire. And you can see on the rate controller how it's jumping from 0.2, 0.1. So right there, I know that I am getting a signal in the cab on my rate controller, and my harnessing is good. So it's probably my flow meter that's not sending pulses back. And if I stop the test, you can see on the rate controller, I'm down to 0. And so in this case, if you do the tap test, you see the flow. We know the harnessing is okay, the rate controller is okay. If you do the tap test and you still don't see flow, it's either, most likely it's the harnessing. There's either a corroded pin somewhere, a pin is pushed in, the harnessing is damaged, maybe it's pulled too tight or it's pinched somewhere. It's not allowing the signal to get back to the rate controller. Most likely that's what the issue is, or it could be the rate controller itself.